So this chuck here is the only chuck that I've ever owned besides the mini chuck that I got when I very first started to turn. And I've been using it now for around 8 or 9 years, I believe. It's the Nova Supernova 2, I think is the official name for it. And it's been a great chuck. It's held up to everything I've thrown at it. After 8-9 years of turning, and pretty aggressive turning at that, especially with some green turning, this chuck is finally starting to break down a little bit. And like I said, it's been a great chuck, it's been awesome, but I figured it was time for an upgrade. Alright, so this is my new one-way stronghold chuck. I love turning bigger bowls, and if I had to say it, they're probably my favorite thing to turn on the lathe. When I mean bigger though, I'm talking 18 to 20 to 24 inch pieces, so pretty large pieces. Now, on the website description for this chuck, it says it's made for bigger bowls, bigger work in general. Seemed like the perfect fit, so last week I pulled the trigger and I bought it. Now for the turners out there, this was kind of an investment. It did cost me a little over $400. However, I didn't buy it as a kit. What I did was cater it more towards the type of work that I'm wanting to do. So I bought the body by itself, and then I bought the number 3 and the number 4 profile jaws because I figured for green wood and bigger bowl blanks, those would be perfect for it. And then, you've got to buy the insert that matches your lathe. So like I said, all in all, it was a little over $400, kind of an investment, but if I can get 8 to 10 years out of it like I did my Nova, then I will think it's money well spent. And like I said, I picked it up last week and I've been doing some turning with it. I've been doing 12 to 14 to 16 inch bowls, so nothing crazy, which granted 16 inch bowl blanks are nothing to scoff at, but it's called the Stronghold chuck. And there has to be a reason for that. So I want to put this thing to the test, and with that said, let me get the bowl blank set up that I'll be turning today, and I will check back in. So what I have here is a 26 inch maple bowl blank. Now typically when I try and turn big bowls like this for YouTube, it's usually to see if I can beat my record for the largest bowl I've ever turned. Now granted, it still could happen today, but that's not the ultimate goal of what I'm trying to accomplish. Like I said earlier, I really want to put the Stronghold chuck through the test. Now, just to turn the bowl by itself, I know it could handle it. I know it would be just fine. My Nova's done it for years. I know that Stronghold chuck can as well. So I want to put a little bit of extra work on it. Once this thing is shaped, I'm going to try and core it. Now why that's a big deal for me is because the last time I tried to core on the extension here, I ended up getting a catch, pretty bad catch, and it bent the only coring knife that I had. Now looking back on it, I know it was my fault of why it didn't work out, mainly because I didn't have the right tools for the job. I was using too small of a cutter, and if you didn't know, I use the one-way coring system, so you have individual knives. I was using too small of a cutter head on it, too small of a knife, and then the wood itself was just really hard. It was a really hard piece of elm with figure knots all through it. And then I think more importantly, I did not have any sort of stability on the back of the extension here. So I think that's what caused the knife to catch and ultimately bend, ruined the only knife that I've had or had at that time. Since then, I have bought another knife or two, and I also have the carbide cutter head for it. So I'm hopeful. I really do think it'll be just fine today. So we'll see. But with that said, let me quit my yapping, let me get my mask, and let's get this thing finally shaped up. Alright, well I have everything set up now. As far as the shaping goes, that went awesome. Have absolutely no complaints at all, and it's honestly really motivating when things like this go as smooth as that did. It makes me want to do it more often. I went ahead and got the coring system set up, and I've got the biggest knife on there that I have. It's not the biggest that they make, so I am losing about 2 inches or so on the edge here, but it is what it is. It is okay. My whole goal is just to see if I can core on the extension here, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually a little hesitant. I'm a little nervous about this because there's a big hang off over here, and I'm literally being stabilized by a 2x4 right now. So I'm a little nervous, but if I get one bowl out of this, I will be thrilled. I will be happy. So that's why I'm not too concerned about losing too much on the edge here. And if it goes successfully and all works out, then I know I can go and buy the bigger knife and potentially do this more often. So again, we're just kind of testing this out. I've got it secure on the truck as good as I can get. I've got everything tightened down as good as it'll get. So enough talking. Let me get my mask on and let's see if we can core on this thing. All right, folks, well, it was successful to say the least. That took roughly about an hour. Now, was it worth it though? Probably not. If I'm being completely honest, this was more pain than what it was actually worth. I ended up overheating the motor twice, so that took some time away. I think I off-centered this here a little too much, trying to get more wood out of this when I should have sacrificed more wood, because what happened is when the cutter here would meet the other side, it was just too big, and so at the end of the day I ended up actually having to use the hammer to pry it off because it just wouldn't pop off because the knife was going as deep as I could probably get it. And then also, I probably shouldn't have been so lazy in the beginning and cleaned this top off here. There is probably about half an inch or so difference from point to point, and I should have made it flat and even because it was hard to get this stabilizer started there because, you know, there'd be a gap on one side and not on the other. So as much as I hate to say it, I probably won't be trying this again. As much as I wish I could, I just can't. Anyways, folks, I'm going to call it an afternoon. I am wore out, and I'm gonna get this thing packed up in its shavings, and I will check back in tomorrow. Well, the maple survived the night. Everything looks pretty good. I've already got the tool rest set up to clean out the inside, finish it up. But before I do that real quick, I want to say I actually, within 12 hours, I believe, I've changed my mind because yesterday I said I don't think I would do this again. However, you know, thinking about it, looking back on it, I really do think I will try this again. I changed my mind very quickly on that. But I will say, if I do it again, it's going to be a little bit different next time around. First and foremost, I will definitely be trying a smaller bowl blank here. This one is cut around 24 inches or so, and I think what I'll do is I'll do a 20 inch, 22 at most. Second of all, I will set up the coring system correctly. I had it too far over, which caused the cutter head have struggled to meet the other side, and it was just too big of a gap, or it didn't cut deep enough on the other side for it, and so that's why I had to pry it out, and it caused some grain ripping there. Like I said, if I do a smaller piece of wood, then my cutter head that I have will be better suited for that, and I won't have to sacrifice as much wood, and I'll absolutely center it up so that way we don't have that issue. If I do this again, that's going to be some changes I make, and more than likely I will. It's always fun experiment, and you learn by experience, so I want to try and just see how that works out, and if that doesn't work out, or if it's a lot of stress as well, then I'm done coring on the extension, and that'll be it. But with that said, let me get my mask on so we can get this thing cleaned out and finished, and put it away for drying. Alright, well, the maple bowl is ready to be finished. Everything came out awesome. No cracks or anything crazy like that. There is just a little knot here down at the bottom. I just took some black sea glue, filled that in, and other than that, no issues at all. So all that's left to do now is to sand and oil this, and I'm really excited to get some oil on it. The colors already look really pretty, but I'm really curious to see how that oil is going to make everything pop. But before we do that, there are a few things I want to talk about real quick. So earlier in the video, I said at first, I don't know if I would try this again. And then quickly after that, or once I finished turning this, I said I probably would try it again. I would just need to change around the way I do it. And then when I said that though, I was thinking it would be more like a few weeks, few months before I got back to doing this or tried it again, because I honestly didn't have, or was no rush to get back to it. But after sleeping on it and finishing this bowl, finished turning it, it really motivated me to want to try and actually get more proficient at turning and coring large bowls. So what I thought would be a few weeks, few months, ended up turning into just literally 48 hours. That following week after turning this bowl, I spent that entire week doing nothing but turning and coring large bowls like this. So I ended up making a video from that, and I highly recommend checking that out if you want a more in-depth, more behind-the-scenes look and how my process goes now, because it feels like a strong word to use, but some of the stuff that I did in this video is already outdated, I guess, or obsolete. I don't know the best way to describe it, but I've already changed a few things around, so I really recommend checking out that video if you want to see that now. And I'll link it up in the corner or description, or both. But the one thing I will add though is I did talk about my new my new chuck over here, the Oneway Stronghold chuck. I will say it has been a fantastic chuck. I'm really glad I invested in that. Between this bowl and then all the bowls that I turned the other week, it done a fantastic job. I absolutely am glad that I purchased that thing. It's been awesome. So other than that, if you want to see a more updated process of how I turn and core large bowls, I highly recommend checking out that video. All right, one more thing, and then I promise we can get this bowl finished up. So recently on the channel, I actually hit a big goal of mine, which was 5,000 subscribers. I think last week we crossed over. And so with that, I just want to say thank you so much. The support that y'all continuously show me is awesome. I've absolutely loved this journey, I guess if you want to say that, this little community that we've been building. It's been awesome. It's been such a fun ride. So thank you so much for all the support and continued support that y'all showed me. The likes, the comments, the subscribes, all that. It really does go a lot further than you realize. So thank you. And I guess the next obvious goal is 10,000. I want to plan out something special for that one, but that is the next goal. So I guess we're going to be working towards that one. And since I'm on the topic of kind of the channel or whatever, I wanted to give an update. Here in the next few weeks, few months, I don't want to say change, but there are a few changes that I would like to make to the channel. And change, like I said, change is not necessarily the right word, but I know I mentioned in the past, I really would like to add some furniture videos. If you didn't know, I actually got my start in woodworking by building furniture. I took shop class in high school and I absolutely fell in love with building furniture. And I really would like to add more furniture to the channel. I love building it. It's one of my favorite things to do. And you know, I love turning. It is my passion, but I don't want to be just known as a turning guy. I love woodworking as a whole. So I really would like to add just not even furniture, but a more variety to the channel. So I plan to do that here in the next few weeks, months. But also last week or 2 weeks ago when I uploaded the video that I've been talking about, like I said, I've done it in a more laid back, kind of vloggy style video, and not vlog in the traditional sense, but again, I would say vlog in my style. You know, it was definitely my style video, but just a little bit more talking, a little laid back. And I've gotten a ton of awesome feedback. Y'all have been very receptive, it's been very positive. Everything's been positive about that video, and that's really motivated me to want to do more of that style of video as well. And I've got to say, just even from my standpoint, when I was filming that, I actually had a ton of fun filming that video. It was just it forced me to be a little bit more creative with my videos, and I had a really good time doing that. So I would love to do more of those style of videos as well. Now, these videos like this are where, you know, it's a bowl or whatever from start to finish. I'm not going to be getting rid of those. And that's why I'm saying things aren't going to really change. I'm more or less adding because I think there's a place for all these types of videos and even like a mixture of them all on the channel. And so just within the next few weeks, few months, I really would like to try to do that and add in more of that type of video to the channel. And then also, eventually, I would like to get back to doing once a week videos. Right now, with life and everything, I can only 2 weeks, every other week seems to be the best for me. But eventually, the goal is to get back to doing once a week. That's like the ultimate goal for me. But anyways, I have talked enough now. And if you've made it this far, like I always say, I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching. So I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to get my mask. Let's get this bowl sanded and oiled and get this thing done.